Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Pagliai of Carbondale, the official coaches show of Saluki Athletics. Now, here is the voice of the Salukis, Luke Martin.
Welcome, everybody, to a new venture, Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by our friends at Pagliai Pizza with the head coach, Nick Hill. I am Luke Martin. Coach, it's football season, brother. It's time to go.
Yeah, exciting time of the year. I mean, this is what we do, you know, and it all the hard work and all the things, recruiting and lifting weights, running, you know, it comes down to the fall. Fall is football season, and we're excited that it's here. You know, game week has a different feel to it. Especially going into the first one, you know, you're ready to play. You still have some details to work out amongst your team. You know, we just got off the field a little bit ago, and really our last padded practice before we get on the plane, and so some things to tie up, but our team's ready to go play somebody else.
Coach, you know, you kind of talked about you've been going the morning practices so far really throughout fall camp. I know you've had a week to kind of get acclimated with school, et cetera, last week. Now you're getting game week mode. What's been, I guess you'll find out by the end of the year how much of a benefit it's been, but how big of a plus has it been to really go in the mornings with your group compared to the afternoons like you've done?
Yeah, I've been excited to do that. You know, obviously you don't make a decision like that unless it's a well-vetted decision, and you talk to people around the country. So many teams have went to this. You know, I would say the majority practice in the morning when you're talking FBS schools or Power 4 schools. If you can do that, it takes some coordinating with your class schedules and things like that. But honestly, it's where we were starting to have so many class conflicts in the afternoon, missing meetings. I've really liked that. You know, we'll have a few class conflicts towards the end of practice, or guys got to leave, which we have that every year, whether it's afternoon or morning. But I like that. You know, the entire team is there for the morning team meeting, hearing the same message. I think the guys really like it. You know, now they have time. Their evenings are a little bit different than it would be getting off the field around 6 o'clock. Then you're scrambling, study table, getting late. You might still have an 8 o'clock class in the morning, so you're back up early. So I think everybody has enjoyed it so far, but like you said, you know, we'll reevaluate it after the year.
You know, one of the areas too, Coach Hill, as you mentioned, it takes a lot of collaboration, right? It's not just you put the schedule, you like to do this. It takes collaboration from the university side, et cetera. So there's a lot of folks that are making that be able to happen for your football team.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, when you think about, we have 105 players. You know, so that's 105 schedules that all matter. You know, going back to, it takes a while to, you know, playing around with different times, different team meetings. We didn't want to get them up too early. So we like the schedule that we settled on, and I think the players have enjoyed it so far as well.
So fall camp is over. You've had that week of acclimation and now getting game week mode. It's kind of one of those areas where you're ultimately going to find out exactly what you've been working on here this weekend against another opponent in BYU. But just in terms of how you feel about your team, what you've been able to accomplish, because just being out at practice, Coach Hill, there's been a lot of guys, a lot of good guys have gotten a ton of reps over the last month.
Yeah, we've gotten good reps when you look at the count, and, you know, using previous years where you feel like there's a certain amount of reps for different guys, new guys or veteran guys. You know, we've gotten the team a lot of reps, and that's where you get better, and you get better with practice. You get better with going against each other. I think that one thing that I feel like I've learned over the time, I feel like your team really grows with playing 11-on-11 football against each other. I mean, that's where you can identify if things are clicking in the meeting rooms, if they're able to carry over what you're teaching them in the individual using those techniques, because when the bullets are flying, you really find out. And I feel like that's what the games bring. I mean, who can execute in the moment, and that's what this game will come down to as well. It's execution. You heard my message after practice. I mean, I don't think that we're going to have to try to get anybody excited to go play, you know, in the pregame for this game. It's the first game. It's a Power 4 opponent. They'll be able to hear the crowd. So it's not going to be that. It's going to be like, okay, it's 3rd and 6. Who's executing on both sides of the ball? You know, their team as well. And so we've got to eliminate the distractions. We got to go execute at a high level.
You talk about the distractions, even though this is a type of game that your group is used to playing in and playing Power 4 games. You've done it. You've beaten 2 FBS teams in a row, one including a Power 4 Northwestern. But you even brought up to your team early in camp, look, guys, this will be a little bit of a different challenge because of that crowd. I think only 2 games in program history, Southern's playing over 60,000 people. What are ways that you try to just prepare your team for that? But as you said, it can work in your benefit too, because there's not much juice that you're going to have to try to bring to your guys. There's going to be plenty of juice that they're going to have in that place come Saturday night.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's college football. That's what it makes it exciting. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter if there's 8,000 people and you can hear the one guy that you've got to be able to stay focused in. And it's not just the week leading up to it that you're talking to your team about the level of focus that you have to be able to have. If you look at every elite competitor that we could rattle off here from any sport, from soccer, from basketball, your Kobe's and your Steph Curry's in the Olympics, there was a focus about them in going to win the gold medal. You can get laser focused and get in the zone, and it's not just talking to them and having a couple team meetings leading up to this. Talks about it. We talk about this in January, February, and just being able to challenge them to stay focused. The game does present a little bit longer of a time than you practice as well, and it's not about no one out there. I can't do that to say I'm going to be focused for 4 hours straight. The game provides opportunities for us to relax on the sideline. You still have to be focused, but take a second. If it's 20 seconds, now you have to refocus back in, and you got to be able to go back and forth to those things, and media timeouts, half times, and the team that can sustain that for longer usually has a better team.
This is Inside Saluki Athletics, brought to you by Pagliai's Pizza. For our fans that are watching on X, Facebook, and YouTube, you can comment on the show. We'll get to your comments throughout here this next hour as we're joined by multiple different members of Saluki Athletics. To kind of build off of that, Coach Hill, one of the things that I've always really admired about you, but also see with you when you coach this team, is you played here. You wore that uniform. You know exactly what that's like. And what I'm really leaning into is, the opposing head coach is the exact same way at BYU with Coach Satake. He was a great fullback back in the day for them, part of their great history and lessons. Does that – you respect every coach that you go up against and you game plan against, but when you know that that head coach wore that uniform as well for his school, it's got to be a little different when you know that you're going up against somebody that has a lot more invested in that program other than just being the head coach.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think that there's a respect there on why he's still there and why BYU, and I think that only if you've sat in that seat at your alma mater, the pride that you have for that, there's zero details or the meaning that it means, winning and losing. I think head coaches a lot of times can only know what the other guy is feeling, like last year being 5-7 for them at your alma mater. There's a feeling there that he's had to live with that all off season, because there's a great pride in not just the team and all the that every head coach, no matter where you coach, feels, but it's those guys that he played with and the fans that he's known for years, and the administrators and the people that have come before him that you just want to do so well for. And so when you do that at your alma mater, there's nothing like it. I had that feeling. I mentioned it in the staff meeting with Brent Key at Georgia Tech this past weekend. Taking your team to Ireland. He left Alabama to go to Georgia Tech. The only person in the country that would do that. It's because he played at Georgia Tech, and it means more for him to go back to Georgia Tech. Let me take over this tough program. And I can only imagine the sense of pride that all your alumni that made that trip overseas, he can sit back and feel that, same thing for our guys to go and our alumni to show up in Provo, Utah. You have a sense of pride and you want to perform well for them.
Look, there's so much roster turnover just today in college football. Your team deals with it. BYU's dealt with it. But from film you can gauge of a year ago, understand it wasn't the year that they wanted, to the pieces they've added, what kind of team you expect to see on Saturday, and what are things that they did do well, of course, being their first year in the Big 12 last year?
Yeah, they're going to be a really good football team. I mean, they're a few plays away from being a bowl team. Last year, the last game of the year puts them in a bowl game, and that came down to overtime and a fumble, and so. Yeah, they're a good football team, and they're going to make the corrections. They're well coached, and both coordinators, they're seasoned coordinators. Offensive coordinators been there for a long time, coached some really great players, really great offenses. Like you said, Coach Kalani does a great job. The physicality which he brings as far as his mindset, and then Jay Hill's an outstanding defensive coordinator. So why they talked him into leaving being a head coach to come call the defense. And so this will be a good football team. Physical in the trenches, up front, experienced offensive line, physical up front, some elite players on the edge. That will cause some problems, and then and then two guys that would be one of the two best players, defensively in FCS now are over there at BYU, coming from Weber, that are like Buck Buchanan type players that'll be starting for him on defense as well. So it'll be an extremely challenge.
You talk about Coach Jay Hill, and one of the things when I was talking to your staff, when you guys went and played him at Weber State in the postseason back in the spring of 2021, was how classy he was, and how his staff and how they welcomed you guys there. And I know the game ultimately went the Saluki's way, winning in thrilling fashion, but I just heard so many things, whether it was Ryan McVicker, whoever it was, Coach Griff, they're like, dude was just first class all the way. What do you respect about him most? And now as you see him on the defensive side, do you kind of go, I could see some of those old tendencies that we maybe saw a little bit at Weber State. Obviously, it was just heck of a lot of athletes now at BYU.
Yeah, no, Coach Hill was extremely hospitable. You can just you can tell. I mean, I can remember it was COVID, so we had to go there and get tested the day early, and then that took a while because there would be only so many people in, so you had time to go out to the field. This is the day before, maybe even 2 days. We got there 2 days before, and I remember him coming down, introducing himself, making sure everybody, whatever the team needs, all of that. That entire trip, I think when you think about BYU fans, I kind of had my first taste of, growing up in Southern Illinois. You don't know many BYU fans. But my first coaching experience of calling plays was at West Orange High School, and I coached Hayden and Kyle Griffiths, and they come from the lineage of BYU. They both went to BYU. Hayden played quarterback, Kyle played fullback, and Hayden played quarterback for me, and Kyle played offense and defense. But their mom and dad, their grandma and grandpa, I mean, Saturdays was BYU, and they would fly out to games during the season. I mean, like if you are a part of that tree that has went to BYU, I mean, that bleeds through your entire family. You grow up like the tradition and the people, and just knowing that family and how just kind, hospitable they are. That's really how we got treated the entire time out at Weber, and I know it'll be the same when we get out there, Saturday.
Let's kind of turn it back on your team, just Coach Hill. Obviously, a few more days of practice before you hit on that plane to go out and play BYU. One of the areas throughout fall camp, it seemed like, especially, I always hate comparing years because every team is different, and it's not always the best thing to do, but it felt like in fall camp, Coach Hill, that there were more balanced days. And what I kind of allude to is there were more days where you walked away where you're like, man, offense had a good day today. Or, man, defense had a really good day today. Or you had practices where it was both. Mm-hmm. It was even. They went back and forth. Did you have that feeling as you went throughout fall camp that, you know what, both sides of the ball seem to have really good days and be a little bit more balanced than maybe it kind of felt a year ago going through fall camp?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think just evaluating each practice, there was good give and take, what you want to see. I think that you want to have that as a coach. I tell our team that all the time when you're kind of back there refereeing practices. Like, I just want to see good football, and that means we're executing on both sides of the ball. And for the majority of training camp, we're not scripting practices offensively or defensively to beat each other. You know, you're installing a defense. So there might be days that this call is tough against this offensive call. And if I know that, then the offense should execute this call because, we're at an advantage right here. Or, defensively, like days that maybe some drives or some planned out periods that, we're taking some deep play action passes, but these are some really tough pressures to protect against. And knowing defensively, you better get home. This should be a sack if we're sending all these guys, and so there'll be a time that, man, we didn't get one ball off. We took a couple sacks in this, but it's preparing your team for the most difficult situations. And so I think there was good give and take. I think that proves that you have good players, you have good schemes on both sides of the ball.
It was one thing I talked about with Coach Poor today, which, by the way, I love that Coach Poor already, of course, he's going to be our sideline reporter, third analyst for our crew this year. He had a notebook full of notes already this morning. It's like he's still a coach for us. He is just so ready for this weekend. But was talking to him about watching your defense today. You hear Iverson Brown, you hear Colin Bohannon, you hear their voices, really good from a standpoint of communication. I know you always demand it from your guys, and you always want a little bit more. But how is Colin, because he'll be coming on the show here in a little bit, how has he, Iverson, those guys really taken on the leadership role? Or maybe kind of off the field, they're not the most boisterous guys, but on the field, they're really demanding that from you and demanding it for themselves too.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, all of those guys that have played a lot of reps, I mean, the communication is super, it's vital. Especially on the defensive side of the ball. I tell them all the time, the offense gets to dictate what the formation is, what the motion is, what speed they go at. Is it no huddle? Is it huddle up? Is it what personnel it is? Like, you have to react. So there's constant communication. There's pre-snap. Rarely do any teams, when we go Saturday, they're just not going to line up in the same formation and say, here's what it looked like on the card. So there's going to be emotion. It's going to have to trigger some responses, and it's got to be loud, confident communication. Iverson's been doing a great job. Bohannon, really, the linebackers, Colin does an outstanding job. I think Steed has communicated at a high level. Jameer Khan is loud and communicates with motions, and so you really want to hear that. That's why when you guys come out to practice, with nobody in the stands, we should really be heard. And because on Saturday there's going to be some times where we can't hear, so is that nonverbal or verbal communication, and they've been doing a good job. Everybody
loves Coach Hill, and we'll get you out of here on this note. Appreciate the time here on Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by our friends at Pagliai's Pizza. It's one of those areas, Coach Hill, where everybody wants to make. Maybe there's like a certain key. There's a certain X factor that you're going to need to have success against a team like BYU or whomever. But really, when you think about it, it all comes down to a lot of the same things, regardless, each and every week. Making sure you take care of the football. You don't have silly turnovers, especially in that environment. You ramp up the crowd even more. What are you just most eager about and anticipating just to see your team play? Like, what are you most excited about to let your guys loose and let them go play and enjoy that environment come Saturday night?
Yeah, I think that's for everybody. This is an exciting time for me, whether they're guys that, for Chase Evans, he's been here forever, I'm excited for him to go out and, whether this is the last season of football or it's to enjoy the opportunity to go play. It's Noah Finsky, who's waited a long time. Super proud of him. There will be a sense of pride of just watching him trot out there for the first time, because deep down, like Coach James has talked about this with the defense, like, we don't get to play anymore. We get to play through them, and we get to watch your joy to go out there and play. And so anytime the season starts and you watch your team go out there, you watch them have success, you watch the young guys make plays for their first time, like, there's really no describing that joy and that feeling that they get inside. So I'm looking forward to watching all of our guys, whether they're a veteran guy or they're a new guy. It's some of our new players, how they fit in. Watching some of the guys that just that made this travel squad that are taking their first trip. There's a couple guys that have earned the right to go on this trip. that maybe probably preseason would be like, I probably won't be on that trip. It's just watching them get on the plane and knowing that, man, they are just excited. They're going, and I've made sure and tell this that they're going because they're going to make a difference by just their body language and vibe and in the hotel. And when you look over the sideline, like, we need him on the trip, and he makes a difference. And so I'm excited for our guys just to get in the game day. That's why they came here to play, and so I'm looking forward to watching everybody.
What's your favorite part about the first road trip? Just when you know it's that first time going for a flight. Of course, this year, unique, it's the first game, but just for you, what gets your juices going? Like, what's your favorite part of the trip?
That's a good question. I think because you have a lot of things going through your head, and you want things to go smoothly. And so, whenever we're taking our wives to this trip, every year, and so that's fun. My parents going out there. My dad usually, brings Mitch and Janet Wolf. They go with my parents. They've been from really every FBS game or a game that we've played. They always go. And so I think once I see them on the sideline, I can find Alicia in the stands, and then, like, you can feel that, okay, it's kickoff time. You can get zeroed in. You want the pregame meal to go well, and there's no distractions, and getting to the stadium and the equipment, and you want to you've always got to be thinking about everything. But once we take that field and you put your headset on and it's game time, I'm looking forward to that.
Coach, it's going to be really exciting to see your team play. I know they're really going to embrace the environment and have a lot of fun on Saturday night. It's going to be a good game against a really good team to start off the year. Coach, we really appreciate the time and look forward to this new format, doing this live with you each and every Tuesday throughout the year. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this will be fun for the year, and excited for Saluki fans to be tuned in, and for the people going. We really appreciate it.
No doubt about it. Coach, thanks so much for the time.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll be back with more here on Inside Saluki Athletics. Colin Bohannick joins us when we return. But in the meantime, you get a special inside look at what it's like at a Saluki football practice when you mic up Dan Clark.
Or maybe the mic really isn't on, and maybe I am talking to myself. All right?
There's no way. You can see the baby powder through the pants. You need weird dudes. Weird works.
I love our linebacker coach, but I want to punch him in the mouth. His pom freaking carrying. Let's go to work. Hey, it's called a beep button. All right, beep, 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 beep.
60, man.
That's cute.
Congrats, dude. It's his birthday today.
There's a lot of guys with a lot of insecurities in the staff. You just met the one with the most.
Dan Clark, the inventor of the independent.
I got about 7 practices of why I want to put my hands on 53.
That was pretty rough.
I know.
Even when you're turning 60.
I mean, that stuff that's coming out of your hat right now kind of looks like a toupee. And then we're going to have to start getting some inserts on that. See, I helped him out. Good day now. Let's go. Young Bucks, got to go. Come on, load up that right foot and go. Hut! Turn your body. Stay square. That baby cello. Trust those RBs. Trust us. All right? Doing our job every play. Let your feet work. 0 to 100 right here. Make a big play. Come on. Come on, babe. Need you. Wait, step up, Deuce. Bow up, 73, let's go. Yeah! Good drive. It's a beautiful drive. Great protection. If he goes across your face, isn't that a good thing? Now you just take him out at that angle, okay? What? There you go. Break. That baby. Come on, physical day. There you go, Fred. You can't pop up and then go back down. Eyes leaning on it. All right, get your body through it. Shake. Big black, Jay Green! Big black there! Straight! That baby! That boy! Straight! There you go, Pat! Hey, where'd the hand get? Really high, right? Just replace it back underneath. Feet! He's standing! That baby played! That baby! Speed rush. Don't! You're leading out, and you forget about your left foot. Where's the quarterback at? Inside. Come on, let's go. Balance. He ain't gonna run by you. Nobody here's gonna run by you. Gotta anchor your feet in the ground. I'm ready when you are. Thank you. First down. That baby Deuce. Good cut, Caleb. Got him.
What does it look like I'm doing if you're not standing right here? Looks like we're talking about something super important. Water break, yes. Nice way to buy 40 seconds. Okay, that's good work there.
I'm not gonna tell Mac to bring out his pom-poms yet. Head cheerleading coach.
Tom, watch this. You! I got him all. 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 I got him all.
1, 2, 3. Came into a hornet's nest. Make sure you guys are awake.
Yeah! Oh, boys! Oh, boys! What a call!
Hey, pom-pom, prove him one. Come here. Good job today.
Hey,
Good job
Tom,
today.
if you're getting this, just make sure you get this
Hey,
picture
Tom.
here, too. Get this picture. All right. Right there.
Saw a lot of confidence today. Playing fast, raise the level of their speed. We got to bring it tomorrow again. Great job today. Love you, man. Attitude on 3. 1, 2, 3. Production awards there are out there for you. I mean, this might be the one you put on your mantle when it's, retirement time. Go Dogs.
Pagliai's Pizza is more than just a restaurant. It's a Southern Illinois tradition with new owners, Jason and Sula, an SIU alumni. They continue the legacy of excellence set by our founders. Every visit to Pagliai's promises the same exceptional quality and warm, welcoming atmosphere that customers have loved for decades. Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Pagliai's Pizza. We are now joined by live Colin Bohannick, linebacker for the Dogs. Bo, welcome in, Bo Hawk. You ready to go, man? Is it ready for? It's ready for football now, right? Ready to strap it on and finally hit somebody else for once.
Right. It's been a while, especially being out for the spring. So I'm excited.
For you, when you're out for the spring, I know, look, that's not what you want to do. You want to be out there all the time with your teammates, but how does that help you from a football IQ standpoint? Colin, you came in a very high football IQ, but when you kind of get the opportunity, kind of sit back to really let your other teammates kind of get some good reps, but it's also still a way for you to really test yourself from an IQ and mentally standpoint.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was tough, being on the sidelines the whole time. You just want to get out there and go hit with somebody and play, but it definitely helped me take a step back just from a mental standpoint and just being with Coach Mack and kind of just being like a second coach to the guys, especially being a vet. So it was definitely nice seeing things from a different perspective. It really helped me key in on like the little things and obviously worry about myself and like my physical, like my physique and stuff. So it helped me really not have to worry about like just eating a bunch of carbs for practice and stuff. So it helped me get in a good, healthy spot. But yeah, it definitely helped me mentally a lot. Just sitting back, watching the game, seeing it from a different perspective, like a coach's perspective, instead of going out there and playing every day.
Colin, seasons are physical, and this league is extremely physical in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And of course, you got banged up at times last year where you weren't able to go or play. But man, you've come back and you look a lot better. And you said that was an area of focus that you really wanted to really laser in on. What was an area just specifically with your body that you're like, I want to get either bigger, stronger, be more fit in these areas that you really kind of hit on this off season?
Yeah, definitely like later in the games last season, I kind of felt like my legs were getting a little heavy. I think I had a little top weight that I had to shave off. So especially, getting surgery kind of helped with that to where I'm laying low a lot. But yeah, I definitely shaved off a little bit of pounds and just I feel a lot more like lean and just quicker out there to where I'm able to go faster, longer. So that was a big emphasis, just being able to fly around the field for the whole game, not just like 2 or 3 quarters. So
as you've gone throughout fall camp, Colin, it's one of those areas where I know from an observation standpoint you focus so much on your position group and defensively. It was an area you talked about with Coach Hill. Both sides of the ball I felt had really good days in camp, where last year it really seemed like through fall camp it was dominated by you guys defensively. Have you felt that as a player that, man, we've had some really good team days back and forth throughout the fall?
100%. Yeah. Right after practice, it kind of is like, man, that practice sucked because defensively we weren't that good. But once you step back in the locker room, look back at it like, man, like Hezzy made a really good play earlier and like DJ had a really good throw. So like looking back, like the offense definitely has had a lot of good days, and it's very impressive going against an offense that talented to where it's really just getting us better to where like now they throw us so many formations and stuff too, and that like we feel like we're able to go against anything, and especially with those guys, like we feel like they're the best of the best, so we're getting really good competition that we're getting looked at.
Another area too is so many guys get reps throughout fall camp, especially within your linebacker room. It was an area we focused. We spotlighted you guys back in fall camp just a couple weeks ago. But as you guys have progressed throughout fall camp, where have you guys just as a position, Colin, continue to get better? Because, man, you do set the tone. You're the leader of that group, but we try to tell everybody, like, yeah, you're going to see Bohannick make a lot of plays, but he's going to have some help now around him too.
Yeah, it's definitely just communication with just like little things we've been adding, implementing a bunch of little stuff now that we got like all the base on the core stuff down. So just being able to communicate, especially how close-knit we are as a room. We're able to communicate like that, especially on the field. Like, even if it comes off a little harsh, it's no big deal. Like, okay, got it. Like, we go off to the sideline, we communicate it. So it's really just communication. Like, in the room and the whole defense as a whole, like, that's really the biggest thing. We all are confident in our abilities. We know our jobs. But if somebody's not on the same page, that's where it gets all a little messed up. So as long as we're on the same page and communicate well, then we're all good.
It's one of those areas I try to explain to people to really get a feel for what it's like for you guys day to day here. Is you look at Coach Hill at the top, and all of you guys would run through probably 50 brick walls for that guy. But it also starts in your position room with a guy like Coach Mack. It's a question you get asked a ton. But take us into what a man like Coach Mack does to invest time to get to know you and to get to know your family, to really feel like he's not just coaching you because he wants you to make plays out there on the field. There's a much deeper dynamic there with you guys.
Yeah, it really, I mean, just from the first time I met him on my visit here, it's just like family. He's here, he cares for you. He's not just like a coach who's just worried about all football. He's helping us become better people. And obviously, like in the meeting rooms, like, it's not always just like super hard, super strict. Like, he'll play music in the background, and then we'll watch film. But that, like, it's all just like a respect manner. So, like, we respect each other. Like, he respects us. We respect him. And so then that's where it comes in with that trust, and to where, like, we want to go out and play for him. I mean, but it all starts with, like, creating that connection. So just getting to know each other. Like, when I committed here, he came all the way up to Chicago to my house, had dinner with my family. It all starts there. So just having that personal connection, for that personal bond, it makes you want to play for them, and it gives that trust to each other.
Saw Shug from the opposite sideline last year at Murray State. He obviously transfers into the program. But even a guy like Presto, who last year, you can sense with Presto that his body has really transformed too over the last year. You kind of as a leader, I know you've mentored him a lot. What type of pride do you get, Colin, when you see guys that come in as freshmen that continue to put in the work and now continue to blossom and are going to have big roles for you guys defensively this year?
Oh, it's awesome, and especially like a younger guy coming in. I like to think I had maybe a little bit of help there. So I'm really proud of everybody. Like, everybody in the room that not just Presto, all the guys who came in last year or the year before that, just really been blossoming. Like, we all push each other in that room. It's not just one person pushing everybody. It's every single person. We kind of like bust each other a little bit, just like make little like subtle jokes, but it's like it's all out of love. So that's why like we push each other a lot. So that's just I think that's what goes really into it, a lot of it, especially with like Shug coming in instantly right away. Like, he's coming and pushing people. Like, so he's just one of those guys where just a universal character. Like, he can come in anywhere and have the same effect. Like, he's just a really good locker room guy that's came in and helped us push each other.
And the other part of it too, Colin, we'll get to Coach Mack about it, and he said it to me in our interview that we did during fall camp as well. All of you guys got an edge. I mean, you have that level of intensity where, you guys like each other. You really enjoy being around each other, but there's also that level of, man, I want to compete with you. How is that dynamic within the linebacker room? And because I think some people on the outside may think like, man, how can guys get along yet also just be willing to just fight each other each and every day? Like, describe the different dynamics of the competitors that are within your room.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to win, and we have so much depth in that room, so many good competitors, just naturally good, born like just competitors, to where, like I said, like, we're so close as a group. It would be different if maybe we weren't so close, nobody really talked a little bit. It could get a little feisty. But we're happy for each other. Like, one guy goes out there, plays, we're happy for him. It's really just like a mature thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're like very mature in that manner, in that room, to where, we don't take anything personally like that. We just go out there and like, okay, that happened. All right, let me go prove him wrong. Like, you know what I mean? So it really pushes us to the next level. If you see somebody else doing good, like, you're happy for him, but then boom, it really like gets you going into the next gear to really like prove yourself and just go that extra step.
before we let you go, Colin, I appreciate the time for you coming by and spending it with us today, is last year, and it really was, I know probably those on the outside would think like, oh, come on, like it had to be a big deal that defensive coordinator leaves less than 24 hours before camp, but it really wasn't, and that was such a testament to all of you guys, but of course a huge testament to Coach James and the staff and how everybody just kept moving. Now you've had a year under Coach James. You've had a spring. Now you've had a fall camp. Just generically, like, where have you guys just grown just because now you've had that consistency? Where a year ago now, Coach James was a position coach, so it wasn't like someone completely different coming from the outside. But now that's got to help now that you guys have really had a lot of time together to, whatever, get some kinks out, which last year it didn't seem like you guys had too many kinks because you guys were pretty darn good.
Yeah, it definitely helps, especially in the pass game. Like last year, sometimes, like, you know, we had a little bit of struggle, but just adding different little adjustments now that everybody's got it down, we're really able to, like how Coach James gives us the trust and freedom to, you know, make some checks out there. It definitely, instead of just, you know, doing the same thing every single time, we had a little bit of variety, so it's definitely good. Yeah, to have it under your belt, like we have confidence, and then we can start looking at other things, like from the team we're playing. Like we're not so worried about like making the right call or like knowing our job because we already know that. We've been through it for a whole year and a half now, so like we're able to look at like smaller details, other things that can help us out, like how the receivers run the routes, what the O-line does. So it definitely helps us take it to that next level to where we're able to start looking at some other things instead of just worrying about what your job is, because that just comes a little bit more natural now.
You guys have a great opportunity this weekend against a Power 4 team in BYU. I know the respect factor for a program like that is always extremely high, Colin, but as a competitor, as somebody who you've played in a lot of these games too in your time in your collegiate career, what do you just look forward to just as a team? Not just you as an individual, but you guys as a team to be on that stage, to be in that environment. Doesn't happen every year where you get to play on that type of stage. Just as a player, like, I'm sure you probably get a little goosebumps right now just thinking about it. What are you most anticipating just come Saturday night?
I just want to see us fight for 4 straight quarters. You know, obviously, I mean, going into that big of a stadium, we're bound to fight somewhat of adversity, especially for the first game of the year. This is the first time this team ever has played a game together. So just being able to stay together when we go through that adversity and just don't break down, as long as we can stay strong, tough it out, battle the whole game, I think we'll have pretty good results. So.
I think so too. It's no doubt you guys have shown the ability that not going to back down from a challenge. I know you guys are looking forward to it on Saturday night. Colin Bohanec, it's going to be so much fun to not just say your name at a practice. It's nice that we're actually going to have some environment, going to have some games starting this weekend. Appreciate you joining us, especially during, I know, a busy time during the week for you. So appreciate the time and looking forward to Saturday night, buddy.
Yep, thank you.
Once again, that was Colin Bohanec. We will be back with more here on Inside Saluki Athletics, as when we return, it's going to be Coach Mack is going to join us here on the show. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Pagliai of Carbondale. Discover the authentic taste of tradition at Pagliai's Pizza, a Carbondale landmark, proudly serving Southern Illinois for over 55 years. Located at 509 South Illinois Avenue, their family-owned pizzeria is renowned for its commitment to fresh, high-quality ingredients and time-honored recipes that make Pagliai's a favorite for Southern Illinois pizza lovers. Welcome on back to somebody who is, I think, a pizza expert at times. Here and there. Mac McLaren, the linebacker coach for the Dogs, joins us, who gets to coach guys like Colin Bohanec, hence why he has no hair.
There you go. I was going to say, you had Bogle, Yeah, it should. Presto. The hair goes away on its own. Thank God.
A lot of bows
Yep.
in your room. You know,
There's Bo, there's Vo, there's Bogle. It gets good. You know, you yell at once, everybody turns their head, so that's good.
it's game week, Coach. I mean,
Yes, sir.
look, you guys spend so much time just preparing, where you spend more time preparing for this game than you get the opportunity to actually play it. But knowing there's a lot of preparation that goes into this, just your feeling for the guys. How do you feel for your guys this week that they finally get that opportunity to go play against somebody else?
Really excited. I mean, that's the thing that's cool is now it's, you know, we've used this day, this June 27th for our room specifically. You know, it was kind of a day in summer workouts that the guys had a hard day. You know, we were running them hard. They were doing a lot of stuff. And, you know, we found each other that day as a group. And I think that's a cool thing to be present in, is you find yourself in that. And we've related back to that day a lot, you know what I mean, is we're not doing all that stuff for easy access, for, you know, easy kind of soft entrances and things like that. We're doing it to get ourselves in position to go play 4 quarters and play downhill, open up the horsepower and play downhill for 4 quarters. I'm really excited that the guys have that opportunity. That's the thing that is cool, is, you know, that's the fun part of the job too, is you get to see these guys go out there and do their thing. And I think that's the thing that I'm most excited about.
I asked Colin about it. I mean, you look at your room, you got some personalities now. And what I mean is not just funny personalities, but guys who are the ultimate competitor. Yeah. And at times when, you know, as you kind of hinted at throughout fall camp, look, guys, not everybody can be out there on the field. So that in a way can bring maybe an edginess to it in its own right. Yeah. But how does your room balance that, Coach Mack? And I don't want to put it all on you. You give credit to your guys, but how do you try to manage it as much as you can?
Yeah, and I think the cool thing is, that's the cool thing about coaching a room like that, is, you know, you really let those guys bring their own personality, their own dynamic into the room, and, you know, they feed off each other. As far as managing it, I mean, the thing that's cool is when you don't have to beg guys to compete, you don't have to beg guys to go out to practice and play hard. That's the coolest part for me, is those guys come in, it's full throttle, the horsepower's turned up, we're ready to go. We're not, you know, nervous about a moment, we're not nervous about a team period. Like, guys are welcoming the situations, guys are welcoming the opportunity, and I think that's the thing that's cool about, you know, you start with Coach Hill, you go to Coach James, is those guys create an environment that competitors shine. And I think that's the thing that's really cool, is, you know, you're not looking for guys to stand out and compete. We're finding guys and we're recruiting the right type of players and attracting the right type of players, and that's a credit, obviously, to Coach Hill and Coach James. But we've attracted those types of kids, whether it's a Steed and Iverson Brown, a Des Hearns, Colin Bohannick, Shug Walker, you know, even, you know, how we got going on offense, all those receivers and quarterbacks, and obviously great offensive linemen. Like, it's a place that attracts a lot of competitors. And as a coach, as a person that just enjoys the game, it's cool to watch practice. It's cool to coach it, obviously, but it's cool to be there. I mean, we're watching good ball. We're seeing guys compete and strain, and we're seeing guys start to find their way to be consistent, whatever that role may be. It's really cool to be a part of it and watch it, because, I mean, you're watching good ball, you're watching guys compete, and you're watching guys find each other when, you know, there's not really a lot of help coming when it's just 11 guys out there. That's the thing that's cool, is you see the team start to come together, and you're out there with 10 other guys, 11 other guys that are just going to go compete with you. It's cool to see guys kind of shine and rise to that moment when, you know, they've been doing that consistently for many weeks now. That's the thing that is really cool.
So you still enjoy practice even when Dan Clark is out there?
You know, Clarky, you gotta humor Clarky. You don't want Clarky to get upset. You know, if you go and you watch one-on-ones, it turns into a Glazier clinic real quick. So, you know, you got to make sure he feels good and, you know, make sure he's got what he needs. I'm sure Coach Rowland is a good moderator of that situation. So.
I'm telling you, when we get them on the show, that's going to, especially the live factor, man. Now. You know, that's
you better get the button ready for him, man. You're worried about me. Clarky's the man, and that's the thing that you talk about, a cool staff, is that's the thing that's cool too, is, like, you know, from Coach Hill on down, like, we have that with each other as well, and I think the guys feed off that, they feel that, and that's not, we don't hide that, you know what I mean, and I think that creates a good environment at practice too, whether it's box guys or it's DBs with Hoth and ZG. I mean, you feel that energy that those guys bring to the field, and I think that's what you're starting to see with the players as well, is guys are feeling that enjoyment of competing, and you know, it's not a shock when you get to Saturdays, because we're kind of building that throughout the weeks, which is really cool to be a part of.
Everybody always asks me, you know, hey, Luke, you know, how's the team look? And not just from a football standpoint, it's that way in the summer with basketball. It's that way whenever you go through practice. Look, the ultimate gauge is when you go up against somebody else, and that's what you're going to get on Saturday. But even in saying that, one of the tones as we talk about with Coach Hill and even Colin, have you felt that there's probably days where you leave that practice field defensively where you're like, man, this is just a frustrating day for us. But then you go back and you're like, we got some pretty good dudes on that other side of the ball too. Where I felt like at times last year, the defense really dominated most of fall camp. And even as you went throughout the practice, defense had a lot more good days than bad. But it's definitely felt like, at least through camp, Coach Mack, that it has been more balanced this year for you guys.
Yeah, no, I think that is cool. Coach Hill makes a point of that in team meetings. Coach James does that as well. Is people talk about iron sharpens iron, but not everybody. Just kind of goes back to the competition thing. Is not everybody like iron sharpens iron until you see yourself against iron, and then it's like, well, why am I not getting this rep? Why am I? The thing that's cool now is like there is no drop off. Like obviously there's certain things, but you see the high level of competition on all sides of the ball, and there are days where, we throw a deep ball to Hez or we throw a deep ball to K-Lou. It's like, wow. I mean, you look at DJ, you look at Hunter, you look at those guys putting the ball where it needs to be, you look at those backs making cuts, Schwindy on the outside. I mean, we got VD, K-Lou, you got receivers and speed everywhere, and you got guys that can facilitate the football to those guys. It's awesome test for us, and we see great amounts of formations, unbalanced motion too, all different types of things. So for us, we can kind of bank those things. And I mean, the cool thing is it carries over to special teams as well, is it doesn't just stay offense and defense. Like Framer's done an amazing job with that stuff and incorporating some of those guys like a Bohannic, like a K-Lou, like a VD, like a Tay Marrero, getting those guys. Those guys are some of our best competitors on special teams. And I think Framer's done a great job just cultivating that environment of dudes that are competing at a high level, and you see it last year with how he's kind of brought that stuff together and really revived that stuff, and you see the growth that we've had in that as well, which is really cool.
And not to say it was a ton, last year or to speak negatively about a year ago, but there's moments where, we stand sometimes primarily next to your group defensively with me, Mike Trude, and Coach Poor at a practice, and
that's what you need.
Absolutely, that's who you need. But my point is, when there's times where I stand there and all of a sudden Coach Clark brings his group over, and you're like, man, you're amongst a lot of trees. Yep. I mean, just absolute massive dudes. Yep. Again, that doesn't always necessarily equate, but even from your side on the defensive side, can you tell, like, man, like we're bigger, stronger,
yeah.
Like we look more the part this year.
Absolutely, and I think that's a credit to those guys finding those type of bodies that we're looking for offensively, defensively, special teams. But it's a credit to Meade as well. I mean, what we've done in the off season. I mean, there are numerous stories, not just from my room, but in really every room. I mean, look at what Meade's done with somebody like a Shane Roth, like a Chris Presto, even a Bogle. I mean, you're working on deficiencies, and you're starting to see guys change their bodies throughout. And I think that's one thing that's really cool is the continued emphasis of how this has got to be an everyday thing. And, the guys are really buying into that. Coach Hill does a great job of not, burying the lead on how, consistency is a superpower. And he talks about that all the time. And getting those guys to not just talk about being consistent, but, those guys are buying into that stuff. And I think when you buy into it, you see, to your point, is you see those transitions and those changes. It's really cool to be at practice knowing that you're getting a good look, whether it's red zone, middle of the field, backed up, third down. Like you're getting some good looks regardless of where we are, regardless of who's out there. And it's a really cool spot, man. Let's
end on this note, Coach Mack, just for your group, just for the team in general. There's always those butterflies of the first game, and again, that excitement level of the first game. But what are you just most anxious to see your side of the ball show again this year? Because last year there was a lot of good things that you guys did, but there is an attitude and there's just there's a I hate to just use the phrase the chip on the shoulder, but there's still a way you guys are carrying your business throughout fall camp of like, we got more that we want to do.
Yeah.
How anxious are you to see your group practice that and now show it in a game?
As a coach, I think that's the thing that's really cool is, Saturdays, there's only 12 of them. When you get to the playoffs, you get 4 more. Like the cool thing now is you get to turn these guys loose. I'm excited to see the horsepower crank up. The whistle's going to blow when somebody's out of bounds or on the ground. And for me as a coach, I think it's really cool to see those guys go out there and do what they do. And it's kind of that excitement of let's see what we got. And watching those guys compete, watching how those guys are with each other, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, like now it's cool. You get to sit back and you're like, let's go to work and let's just see what happens. And that's something we've talked a lot about is, we're not going to make it any bigger, any smaller. We're going to take it one play at a time. We're going to be present where our feet are, and we're going to try to play downhill, turn the horsepower up, and going to try to play with dominant contact at the line of scrimmage. And that's something that I'm really excited to just see us do, however many plays it takes, however much time it is, the consistency of that. That's the thing that's really cool is, we're not really worried about the scoreboard. We're not worried about the situation. We're excited to see those guys play one play after another play after another play consistently to the standard that not only they have with each other, that Coach James has set, that Coach Hill has for us as a team, that Frame has for us on special teams. You get to see kind of that holistic approach, and I think that's the thing that's cool about Saturdays is you get to see those guys strain for one play at a time, however long it takes. And that's, to the point at the beginning, that's why we've done everything we've done is just, it kind of gets you to the doorstep. It doesn't guarantee you anything more. Kind of doing all the things we've done is it gets you a chip in a chair, and it's like, all right, we're here. Let's just go play our game and let's let the rest be the rest. And I think that's something that the guys, specifically linebacker-wise and defensively, we've really done, I think, a really good job of this camp is we've, emphasized situations, emphasized, where we're at and the things that we didn't do a good job of. And, we've really showed the film and shined a light on that stuff. And now you get to see those guys go out there and just try to execute one play at a time as hard as they can play for as long as they can play. And that's the thing that's cool is it's like, each play is kind of a new life and, reset, big play, bad play, good play, crazy play, reset, lock in, get the call, get your key. Let's go play, man. I mean, that's the thing that's cool is you get to see that horsepower turn all the way up, and you get to see guys make tackles, make checks, play in space, just have fun doing what they do, man. That's the thing that's cool for me. I'm excited to watch those guys just go play.
Oh, me too, and I'm excited to announce it starting Saturday night in Provo, Utah, against a team from the Big 12 and the BYU too. Oh, absolutely. Oh, let me tell you,
there you go.
To me, the best part of just the game day for me is when you guys are in your locker rooms and the bands take the field and they go through their whole routine and they play their fight songs, the crowd rises. Like, that's when it's go time.
There you go.
Like, that's the part for me about the game day routine, the pregame, where that's typically at the time where we got our Coach Hill interview rolling. You kind of hear the game day atmosphere behind it, and you're like, it's go time.
Absolutely, man. We'll get you a couple smelling salts up there, too. You can crack those if you need them. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Get those going.
Mike Trude will tell you, I don't think I need them. And I know Trude doesn't need them either, and I know as heck Coach Poore will not need them on the sideline. He's going to be ready to go. But, Coach Mack, appreciate you coming on the show as always, and love and appreciate what you guys do for us each and every day within the program. So thanks so much for the time, and excited for this weekend.
Absolutely, brother.
Once again, that was Coach Matt. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Coach Graham Orr joins us from Saluki Soccer.
I'm Olivia.
I'm Macy.
And you're watching Rapid Fire with
You made me say Definitely Bunch. It'd be like an Adam Sandler movie.
If I wanted to watch a romance movie, I feel like I would go watch Dana because it would also give me comedic relief. Wait, comedic relief. Laugh is great.
I would choose Ash because I feel like she'd star in one of those
I was gonna say Ash too.
Well, I feel like she'd star in one of those gun movies, where it's like
Thriller.
No, not
Wasn't
thriller,
like
like Civil War type of movies.
I would want to read people's minds. I want to know what they think about me and others. I feel like that would be fun. It's like you're a vampire.
Time travel, definitely. I want to go back and forth.
I would choose
Super speed.
teleportation times flying times invisibility.
That's more than one.
You only have
Actually,
one.
teleportation dash flying dash invisibility. That all is one.
No.
One word.
Doesn't
Works for me.
Macy right here. 100%.
I disagree with that 100%.
I strongly disagree with that.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I could see Kylie McDermott and her dog really just taking off on TikTok with a cute video.
I wouldn't say TikTok, but
Why?
I can't see Kylie McDermott on TikTok.
Okay, on an Instagram reel or something. I could just
see
see
on
them
Instagram.
unintentionally taking off, and then Kylie's so cute, she would flourish. It would grow.
Dana.
Oh,
I would not pick Dana. Dana seems like she'd just be like,
Well,
I'm scared of this, let me get out of here myself. And I'd just be like, she left me.
I'm going with Dana. That was the first one that popped in my head too. She would not help, I don't think.
I think it would be funny seeing her in that situation, but not for like my own survival.
I could also see Hannah. I think Hannah would get too stressed and start apologizing to the thing trying to kill me. And
Yeah.
okay,
like,
you can. She always is like,
No,
"Oh
she-
my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." She would like apologize for making it hard on the killer to get us.
Yeah, that's true.
Welcome back to our brand new show, Inside Saluki Athletics, which is brought to you by our friends at Pagliai of Carbondale. It's now time to dive into our Olympic sports segment. And where else should we start other than Saluki soccer with head coach Graham Orr, his group off to an unbeaten start so far here in the fall of 2024. Coach Orr, congrats on the start. How's it felt from your side? I know probably as a coach you're sort of like always thinking of ways you can get better, but it's been a heck of a start for your team.
For sure. I'm delighted the girls are getting the rewards for their hard work, and it feels like the start. But to be honest, this has been like from January onwards. You know, we obviously came in late as a coaching staff last year, and it was about trying to develop a structure, evaluate where we were at, and I think the administration allowed us to do that and put our building blocks in place. And I think the girls are really seeing the fruits from January onwards of what they're doing. And I think that experience has been vital for the younger ones that have come in, and this has just been the infancy of their career at Saluki Soccer.
Coach Orr, to kind of your point, as you were just talking about, yes, the time is important for the players to get acclimated for you, but you also need time to get acclimated to the program. What were the biggest observations that you had after 1 year that even from your side, I know it's about your players and you make it about your players, but just for you, where you feel more confident, you know where things are, where you just are a little bit more acclimated now with Carbondale and the program itself?
Well, I think I've learned a tremendous amount about myself, and with the thanks of my coaching staff, we've really worked really hard to put together a structure in place that can be here for many a year. And I think, as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, so I think I made a lot of mistakes my first year, and I think the most important thing from January onwards was like, how do we have certain principles of play and stick to our methodology of what we're trying to do with the programme. And I think we've got that in place now, and I think we've got a really exciting group of hard-working young ladies who really want to achieve something, and my job is to try and drive that ship in the right direction and keep them level-headed at times and keep them hungry for more success.
One of the areas too, Coach, or at least for me, just from an observation, which watching your team was for the first time on Sunday, but it was an extremely hot day, and even in the second half, your group didn't look tired. It looked like very well conditioned, very strong. Like in terms of the style play you want to play, how has this team really adapted to your style? And where have they grown in terms of whether it's conditioning, whether it's just the style of play? Where have they improved just overall here early on in the season where it doesn't seem like they're wearing down late in games?
Well, the mentality is really everything in our sport, and as I said, from January onwards, but I've got great trust in this group, and especially the girls that were with us from January onwards. I know that, the training we put in place at that point, that they carried it on through the spring, and carried it on through the summer. The younger ones that came in, a lot of them decided to enrol in summer class and got themselves, acclimated a little bit earlier to Carbondale, and you can really see the benefits of that, and on and off the field, I think psychologically, physically, working with the athletic training staff and the strength and conditioning staff, I think we've just had a better head start on that. And I think days like yesterday are the dividends you get for putting in that hard work earlier on in the year.
Let's get to some of your women that have been outstanding so far this year. It seems like Mackenzie Bunch has come back, and I know she played a key role for you a year ago. Playing a key role for you right now, where has she grown, just from her standpoint in terms of being a leader and obviously being a huge point for you right now on the pitch?
Well, I think she's someone that's knows our history now and is well driven to try and cement a legacy on the programme for future years. She's someone who has the opportunity to potentially lead the team in goals. She has great composure in front of goals, and she has great strength. And I think, sometimes people look at her as strength, but she shows a lot of composure in front of goal. So yesterday, she came in, played in an unusual maybe position for her, but it was something tactically we wanted to do. Ended up getting an assist, and that's what we want from her play. But I think you look at all of the kind of the fifth year and the senior players we have, we're really fortunate to have a lot of experience there and been able to go deep in the bench. There were some players who are fantastic players and their opportunity will come that didn't even see the field yesterday. But we know that their opportunity is going to come in some of the future games coming up.
In terms of players who maybe weren't here a year ago, as you said, roster turnover is more common. So I know you added pieces in the offseason. Who's really been a big addition to the team this year, Coach Orr, that you've liked what they brought in and have really helped you improve so far in the fall?
Well, I think if you look at that triangle at the back, I think, we've got Fabi in goals and Martha and Lucy, three real experienced players there. That was an area we came in. We didn't really have any centres defenders to work with last year. And the girls that played in there, it was a little bit alien to them and they did their very best. But we wanted some experience in there just because it's such a key area of the field. Lucy's someone I've known since I recruited her, and she was like a 17-year-old kid, and I've never seen a girl not smile. She's someone that emphasises mentality and just wants to work and happy to be here. Martha and Fabi are two that were recommended highly to me by a friend of mine, and again they've done the same. I've not had the privilege to work with them for such a long period of time, but I think Martha being left-footed gives us that balance back there. And in Fabi's experience yesterday, she comes up with a really important save at 1-0, and then Lucy makes a big block, which gives us the momentum. And then I think it's about 90 seconds later we score the second goal. So that sometimes is soccer, right? You've got to take the key moments and go from there. So I'd say that leadership there. But, we're not going to overlook the efforts that people like Riley and Kylie do as captains, who have been captains from day one, and sometimes their roles are coming off and get a little breather now because we have the depth. But again, they epitomise what Saluki soccer's been at from day one, and we're really happy to have them on the team.
So much focus, Coach Orr, which it always is. It's about whether you can win a match or not, and it's about the win-loss, tie record, moving up, getting those points in the standings to get yourself to where you can compete for a championship. But you spend a lot of time around these young ladies on the road, traveling, at practice. As we close out here, what do you just enjoy about the team? What do you like about the culture that you have this year? What do you enjoy most just about being around the ladies each and every day because of who they are, because of the character that they have?
Yeah, I think it's credit to the ladies that, we identified something when they came to practice last year that, they would kind of come to practice and go and sit in the athletic training room just because that was the norm. Everybody kind of followed someone there. So we changed a few things in the training ground to make like a room for where we store the boots, the cleats. And we set up practice early, and we've kind of created this culture that, you come to work, you get your cleats on, and you get out there early and you start practicing rather than just coming to training and sitting and waiting for the coach to say let's start. Now, that's twofold, right? That's down to the due diligence and the effort of my coaching staff to create that environment and give them that, but then the girls have to take that opportunity, and I think that's something we've looked for by changing, and I think we've had that since January onwards, and I think the new kids that have come in have embraced that, and we want to continue that because ultimately it's not going to be, as you said, that hour and a half to 2 hours that we train every day. It's what you do away from the field, and I think once you build that culture and you have that commitment there, I think anything's possible.
Coach Orr, congrats on the great start. As we all know, it is a start. There's a long season still to go, but a lot of matches to see even more improvement that your team has made this year. Thanks so much for spending time with us today to come on the show.
Thank you, Luke. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Once again, that's head coach Graham Orr for Saluki Soccer. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Pagliai of Carbondale. We'll be back with more in just a matter of moments.
Hey, Shark, how are you, man? How are you? Pretty good. Yeah. What were you saying earlier? No comment. No comment? All right. So you gotta watch what you say now, dude. What's your best Donald Trump impression?
Dewey Green. He's a defensive end. He's never quiet, but I love that about him. He's a very good guy. I really like him. Just ask him. Seven Love, lot to love. That's what we call him. Shout out Elijah Gunn, knocking out summer classes like a stud. No, I'm coming. I was looking for you over there stretching the whole time. Can't wait for you. We gotta get Steve-O to give us the breakdown of the cocoa butter to baby powder ratio. Big things we're looking for here. As I come to the contact point, I want to put my near shoulder turn, and I want to create the contact. We're not blocking in the back. Go Hez. Now go Brett. Good. Get their feet. Go Bogle. Go Bogle. Good. Now go Miles. Good luck, Shane. That's a good rep right there. Go Jathan. Go Jathan. Now go Jathan. That's not bad. 13. Jay's got to start right here. Build, 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 build. Think about your first step here now. There. Go. Good. Press, push the move. Because it's going to make that thing cut back side to really the nose or the end. And they're going to have to outrun it to the front side.
Is that just your sweat hat?
It's just a practice hat. Because it used to be the game hat, but now that you got to find a good game hat. Big contact, you can go. If he stalks, you got to wait. Dewey's whole argument is, we got to make him right. And it's like, okay, yeah, technically we got to make him right. Dewey, get over here. Will you two kiss and make up, please? Stepping left, opening right, staying vertical. Yeah, go. Good. Yeah, go. Downhill, go. Good, there we go. Downhill in the A-gap. Yeah, go. Stick. Good. Drive. Good, that boy, good. Good, Presto. Stay. Nice. Good finish, 11. This is vertical. I'm going to stay here. As his hands go up, your hands go up. Put your hands up. I'm going there. Good, Miles. Attaboy, 3-7. Attaboy. Good job. There, not here. Step at it. Attack step. Good, Bogle. Attaboy. Presto, go, Presto. Okay. Took it easy on him there. That guy jumped by Cello a second ago.
He loves Takis and Conchitos. Cello, what's your favorite kid?
Conchitos. Oh, here you go.
Walkthrough practice is not the time to mic you up.
Well, we might have to double up. Go you and me the same day. You talk about a montage, Tom. That'd be must-see TV. You could charge people for that. Talking about a superior product. NFL Films has got nothing on that. We could sell it to hard knocks. Call it soft knocks.
Whether you're craving a classic pizza or playing a special event, Pagliai's Pizza is here to provide an unforgettable dining experience. Come and taste why we've been a beloved part of the Southern Illinois pizza scene for generations. Big thank you to Coach Nick Hill, who joined us earlier in the program. Of course, Colin Bohannick and Mac McLaren join us from Saluki Football. And then from Saluki Soccer, Graham Orr. They're going to be back in action on Thursday against Kansas City. The unbeaten Dogs still having a great fall so far for the Saluki. Saluki Volleyball will be going here very soon for Coach Allen. We'll have him here on the program in the coming weeks and so much more. All of our programs are going to be spotlighted here on Inside Saluki Athletics. So a big thank you to our friends at PAGS for making this show possible this year. You know where to join us. It's going to be each and every Tuesday here throughout the calendar year and throughout the athletic year on Facebook, X, YouTube, wherever you find us. We appreciate you always interacting, Saluki Nation. And then, oh yeah, football game on Saturday night with the Saluki radio crew. Mike Trude, Coach Pat Poore, they will join me on Saturday night. And we have the call for the BYU Cougars. Our pregame coverage will be at 6 o'clock. Kickoff will be at 7 Central with our good friends from River Radio. Yet another year. Paxton Guy, he'll be in the studios like always throughout the year. So that's going to wrap things up here for our first Inside Saluki Athletics. We will talk to you next week, Saluki Nation, and we'll talk to you this weekend from Provo, Utah. So for everybody within Saluki Athletics, I am Luke Martin saying so long, everybody.